Hi, good morning. In this video, we will show that the dual space of L1 is L infinity. See, first we will see what is L1 and what is L infinity and what are the norms in these spaces. L1 is the set of all sequences. That is a set of all sequences alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, etc. such that sigma I from 1 to infinity modulus alpha I is finite. This is one definition, or this is a set of all sequences alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n such that this infinite series converges. Sigma I from 1 to infinity mod alpha I converges. Okay. And the norm in L1, if x is equal to the sequence alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. belongs to L1, then norm of x is equal to sigma I from 1 to infinity modulus alpha I. We will use these later. And L infinity, there is a set of all bounded sequences alpha 1, alpha 2, etc., alpha n, etc. So bounded means supremo of modulus of alpha I is finite. And the supremo is taken over I. And the norm in L infinity, if x is equal to alpha 1, alpha 2, etc., alpha n, etc. belongs to L infinity, then norm of x is equal to supremum over alpha I, supremum over modulus of alpha I. So these are the preliminary requisites to prove this theorem. And now we want to show that the dual space of L1. So what is the dual space of L1? The dual space of L1 is a set of all bounded linear functionals. Set of all bounded linear functionals on L1. So that is B L1R. And we want to show that this dual space is L infinity. See, by saying that the dual space of L1 is L infinity, we need to show that this B L1R, the dual space of L1, is isomorphic to L infinity. So for that, we need to show that there is a 1 on 2 norm-preserving function. Norm-preserving function T from B L1R to L infinity. See, for this, for every member of B L1R, we need to find a member of L infinity and vice versa, which preserves norm. So this is the sketch of the proof. So we start like this. See, consider L1. And we know that we have already proved that E1, E2, E3, etc., where EI is equal to, EI is the sequence of zeros and ones with 1 in the ith position and 0 elsewhere, forms a shorter basis for L1. This forms a shorter basis for L1. Therefore, every x belongs to L1 can be written as x is equal to, say, if x is equal to alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, etc. belongs to L1, then this x can be uniquely represented as alpha 1 E1 plus alpha 2 E2 plus etc. plus alpha n En plus etc. So that is sigma I from 1 to infinity alpha I Ei. Now for every f belongs to, so for f belongs to B L1R, f is a, then this implies f is a bounded linear functional. ഇപ്പോൾ B L1R ലെ ഏത് മെമ്പറിനെ എടുത്താലും, that member is a bounded linear functional, and f of x is equal to f of alpha 1 e1 plus alpha 2 e2 plus etc. plus alpha n en plus etc. F is linear. So this can be written as alpha 1 f of e1 plus alpha 2 f of e2 plus etc. plus alpha n f of en plus etc. And f is, we know that f is a function from L1 to R, because f is a member of BL1R means f is a function from L1 to R, and that is in fact a linear functional. Now all these FEI, therefore FEIs belongs to R for I is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. n. Therefore V is equal to FE1, FE2, etc., FEN, etc. is a sequence of numbers. Now we can show that this V belongs to L infinity. അതിനെന്താ വേണ്ടത്? We need to show that this is a bounded sequence. Okay. Now, what is modulus of f of ei? The f of ei belongs to capital R, and the norm in capital R is the modulus norm. So this is modulus of f of ei. In capital R, norm is equal to modulus. So this is norm of f of ei. And we already know that this is less than or equal to norm of f into norm of ei. What is ei? Ei is equal to 0. So ei is the sequence whose ith position is occupied by 1 and elsewhere zeros. So what is norm of ei? Norm of ei is equal to sigma I from 1 to infinity these scalars. So that is equal to 0 plus 0 plus etc. So the contribution to this sum is from this 1 only. So norm of ei is equal to 1. So this is equal to norm f. But it is given that f is bounded. Therefore norm f is finite. So this is finite. Therefore, when we take supremum over I, supremum of f of I is less than infinity. This is the primary condition for a sequence to be a member of L infinity. Therefore, V belongs to L infinity. So what we now observed is when we take a member f from BL1R, we can find a V which is equal to the sequence FE1, FE2, etc., FEN, etc., where E1, E2, E3, etc., En is the shorter basis for L1, is a member of L infinity. Now we define a function t from BL1R to L infinity by t of this linear functional f belongs to BL1R as the image of this f as V. So how we got this? We take an f belongs to BL1R. Then the definition of f is f of x is equal to alpha 1 f of e1 plus alpha 2 f of e2 plus etc. plus alpha of f of en plus etc. where e1, e2, e3, etc. n is the shorter basis for L1. Then we showed that this sequence fe1, fe2, etc., fen, etc. is a sequence of numbers and that belongs to L infinity. So this V is a member of L infinity, and this correspondence is defined as the function t. T of f is equal to V. Now we can show that this t, this t is an isomorphism. Is an isomorphism between BL1R, which is the dual space of L1 and L infinity. So once we prove this, our theorem is proved. Okay. So how to show that T is an isomorphism? We will show that T is 1, 1, T is onto, and T is non-preserving, T is linear. So to show that T is 1, 1, onto, linear, and non-preserving, we do one by one. First one, T is 1, 1. Suppose F and G belongs to B L1R such that T of F is equal to T of G. So by definition, T of F is equal to V, and we know that the members of the sequence V are Fe1, Fe2, etc. Fen. So that is the definition of T of F. And on the other hand, the definition of T of G is another, say U, another member of L infinity, where that member is the sequence GE1, GE2, etc., GEN, etc. Therefore, this sequence T of F is the sequence Fe1, Fe2, etc. The sequence is equal to the sequence GE1, GE2, etc. And two sequences are the same, or two sequences are identical if and only if the corresponding terms are identical. Therefore, F of Ei is equal to G of Ei for all I. So this implies F of Ei minus G of Ei equal to 0 for all I. This implies F minus G of Ei equal to 0 for all I. Therefore, F minus G is identically 0 because F minus G brings every element of the Schroeder basis to 0. And any x belongs to L1 can be expressed as a linear combination of these members of Schroeder basis. And the function F minus G brings every element of the Schroeder basis to 0. Therefore, the only possibility is that function vanishes. That means that function is 0. Therefore, F minus G equal to 0 on L1. Therefore, F is equal to G. Therefore, G is 1, 1. Now 2. T is on 2. How to show that T is on 2? The T is defined from B L1R to L infinity. So to show that this T is on 2, we need to show that whenever we take a U from L infinity, there is a member G here, so that T of G is equal to U. So you take a member U from L infinity. Now let U is equal to the sequence C1, C2, C3, etc. belongs to L infinity. Now with the help of this U, we can construct a member G in BL1R. That we do like this. Now for x is equal to alpha 1 E1 plus alpha 2 E2 plus etc. plus alpha n En plus etc. belongs to L1. Define G from L1 to R by G of x is equal to alpha 1 C1 plus alpha 2 C2 plus etc. plus alpha n Cn plus etc. You define a function. U is equal to C1, C2, etc. We want to show that T is on 2. For that, we take a U which is a sequence in L infinity, which is a member of L infinity. Then you go to L1. You go to L1. You take an x. That x will be of the form alpha 1 E1 plus alpha 2 E2 plus etc. plus alpha n En plus etc. because E1, E2, E3, etc. n is a Schroeder basis. Now define G. G from L1 to capital R by g of x is equal to alpha 1 c1 plus alpha 2 c2 plus etc plus alpha n cn. And we can see clearly that with this definition, g of e1 is equal to, see, e1 can be written as 1 e1 plus 0 e2 plus etc plus 0 en plus etc. So with this definition, g of this is 1 c1 plus 0 c2 plus etc plus etc. So this is c1. G of ei in general is g of 0 e1 plus 0 e2 plus etc plus 1 ei plus 0 etc. So that by definition this is ci. So when we defined g from L1 to R by this g of x is equal to alpha 1 c1 etc., it immediately follows that g of ei is equal to ci. Now we can show that g is a member of BL1R and that t of g is equal to this u. See, how will you show that g is a member of BL1R? G should be a bounded linear functional. Anyway, that is a functional because it is defined to capital R. Now to show that g is linear, it is an easy exercise to see that g is linear for let x is equal to alpha 1 e1 plus alpha 2 e2 plus etc belongs to L infinity and L1, not L infinity, L1, and y is equal to beta 1 e1 plus beta 2 e2 plus etc belongs to L1. Alpha x plus beta y belongs to L1 such that g of alpha x plus beta y. What is alpha x plus beta y? Alpha x plus beta y is, after a simple mathematical manipulation, we get that as alpha 1 plus beta 1 e1 plus etc. So g of alpha x plus beta y by definition, that is alpha 1 plus beta 1 c1 plus alpha 2 plus beta 2 c2 plus etc. And this is equal to alpha into alpha 1 c1 plus alpha 2 c2 plus etc plus beta into beta 1 c1 plus beta 2 c2 plus etc. This is alpha g of x plus beta g of y. Therefore g is a linear functional. Also, modulus of gx, that is equal to modulus of sigma I from 1 to infinity alpha I ci, that is less than or equal to sigma I from 1 to infinity modulus alpha I into modulus ci, and this is less than or equal to, you take supremo of ci's, that is less than or equal to supremo of I modulus ci into sigma I from 1 to infinity modulus alpha I. In the beginning we mentioned that if x is equal to alpha 1, alpha 2 etc alpha n, and when x can be written as alpha 1 e1 plus alpha 2 e2 plus etc plus alpha n en, or x is equal to the sequence alpha 1 alpha 2 etc alpha n, then in L1 the norm of x is equal to sigma I from 1 to infinity modulus alpha I, and in L infinity the norm is supremum norm. So we use that here. Now we take u is equal to the sequence c1 c2 etc. c1 c2 etc is a sequence in L infinity. Therefore supremum c modulus ci over I is finite, and this term, this is the norm of x in L1. So this is less than or equal to norm x into supremum mod ci over I. Therefore mod gx by norm x is less than or equal to supremum of modulus of ci over I, which is finite. That is true for all x belongs to L1. Therefore when we take the supremum of these type quantities, that is still a finite number, and the supremum of this mod gx by norm x is norm of g. Therefore taking supremum comma, norm of G is finite. Therefore, G is bounded. Thus, we showed that G is a bounded linear functional. Therefore, G belongs to BL1R. Now, what is T of G? Now, T of G is equal to, by definition, T of G is the sequence GE1, GE2, etc. So that is the definition of TG, and this is equal to C1, C2, etc. and that is equal to U. So we took a U is equal to C1, C2, etc. belongs to L infinity, and now we showed that there is a G in BL1R such that TG is equal to U. Therefore, that function T defined from BL1R to L infinity is onto. Okay. Now to show that, so we showed that T is 1, 1 and onto. Now to show that T is non-preserving, we already have, see here, see from here, modulus of Fi is less than or equal to norm of F. Modulus of F of Ei is less than or equal to norm of F. Therefore, supremum of modulus of F of Ei is less than or equal to norm of F. Supremum, all right. And actually, this is norm of our V. See how we defined T? T of F is equal to V, where V is equal to this. We have already noted that is a sequence Fe1, Fe2, etc. So from here we have modulus of F of Ei less than or equal to norm of F. Therefore, supremum over I modulus of Fi less than or equal to norm F. And this quantity, this is the norm of this V, because V is a member of L infinity that we showed, and the norm of V in L infinity is the supremum norm. So this supremum, this quantity, this is the norm of V. So from here, see, if we call this as 1, from 1 we already have, now to show that T, now it's this on to, now third part we to show that T is non-preserving. Okay, and from 1 says, just to see from this one, this part I told you that this is the norm of V. So from 1, norm of V less than or equal to, from norm of V is less than or equal to norm of F. And on the other hand, for any x is equal to alpha 1 E1 plus alpha 2 E2 plus etc. For any x is equal to alpha 1 E1 plus alpha 2 E2 plus etc. we have f of x is equal to alpha 1 f of E1 plus alpha 2 f of E2 plus etc. Therefore, no modulus of fx, that is modulus of sigma I from 1 to infinity alpha I f of Ei. This in turn less than or equal to, we take the supremum of Fi is outside and modulus inside. So this is less than or equal to, this we applied earlier also, supremum over I f of Ei into sigma I from 1 to infinity modulus alpha I. And x is equal to alpha 1 E1 plus alpha 2 E2 plus etc. plus, that means x is equal to the sequence alpha 1 alpha 2 etc. alpha n etc. in L1. Therefore, the norm of x in L1 So this is the norm of X. Therefore, modulus of Fx is less than or equal to, and this is in fact norm of V. Norm of V into norm of X. Therefore, modulus of Fx by norm X is less than or equal to norm V for all X belongs to L1 and X not equal to 0. And we take the supremum on both sides. Norm of F is the supremum of these numbers. Therefore, taking supremum, ഇതിന്റെ supremum norm F ആണ്. So norm of F is less than or equal to norm of V. We call this as 2 and call this as 3. From 2 and 3, norm of F is equal to norm of V. Now it remains to show that T is norm preserving. That is to show that norm of TF is equal to, note that. See, we want to show that T is norm preserving. That is to show that norm of TF is equal to norm of F. Now, norm of TF is equal to, by definition, TF is equal to V. And this is equal to, you call this as 4 also. The norm of TF is, TF by definition, that is V. So this is norm V. And from 4, norm V is equal to norm F. Therefore, T is a 1, 1, 2 norm preserving function. And it remains to show that T is linear. Norm preserving function. Therefore, T is linear. That follows immediately. So let F and G belongs to L1. Alpha F plus beta G belongs to L1. Therefore, T of F is T of alpha F plus beta G. See, what is the definition of alpha F, T of a function? T of a function F is the sequence Fe1, Fe2, Fe3, etc. So T of the function alpha F plus beta G is the sequence alpha F plus beta G of E1, alpha F plus beta G of E2, etc. And this can be written as, after simple manipulation, F and G are linear, and we apply linearity of all these, and that gives alpha F of E1, F of E2, etc. plus beta G of E1, G of E2, etc. So that is alpha F of E. So the first term of the sequence is then alpha F of E1 plus beta G of G1. That is alpha F of E1 plus beta, that is alpha plus beta G of E1. Second term is alpha F of E2 plus beta G of E2. That is alpha F plus beta G of E2. And this is alpha, and this is T of alpha T of F plus beta T of G. Therefore, T is linear. Therefore, T is a 1, 1, 1, 2 linear norm preserving function from B L1R to L infinity. Therefore, T is an isomorphism. T is an isomorphism from B L1R. It is a dual space of L1 to L infinity. Therefore, dual space of L1, which is equal to L1 dash dual space of L1, which is L1 dash, that is equal to L infinity, and hence the theorem. Okay, thank you. And one more thing, we have defined this V with the help of F, and the shorter basis E1, E2, E3, etc. here. The V is F of E1, F E2, etc. So V is defined with the help of F and the shorter basis. So this V can be uniquely determined if we know F. So this definition is of this definition T of F of T is valid. T of F is a unique element. V belongs to L infinity. And moreover, we discussed this case with the help by keeping in mind that the dual space B L1R is the set of all linear functionals from L1 to capital R. See, a similar treatment can be made when R is replaced by capital C. See, the set of all linear functionals, set of all bounded linear functionals from the space to R or C is the dual space. See, we consider only the real space capital R. The same treatment, the same argument can be applied when we replace R by C also. So similarly, the result follows if you take B L1 C, and that completes the proof. So the dual space of L1 is L infinity. Okay.